We at the Least Haunted Podcast stand with those of the LGBTQIA+ community and especially want to voice our support for the trans community, masculine, feminine, non-binary, and every other of the beautiful assortment of people who are going through so much vitriol and hate in these difficult times.
We welcome you to join our friendly and supportive Discord, and if you want to help support the community or need help yourself, we fully endorse the Trans Lifeline at translifeline.org. We can get through this together.
You are all deserving of life and love, and remember,
The world is more beautiful with you in it.
I literally have like no notes. I was like, oh, I have a file open here. That's one of my
You
things,
know what?
right?
Your notes are just tap, tap, tap on your temple. They're all in your head, Cody.
Oh, that's the thing, yeah, about this is that I now know this motherfucker's birth date.
Send him a card.
Hello, dig for bones.
Hello, and welcome to the Least Haunted Podcast, a place where science, skepticism, humor, and anthropology meet to discuss all things spooky, haunting, supernatural, and sometimes just the plain ridiculous. I'm your host, Cody Franks, and joining me, as almost always, is bounding boisterously and bellowing bardic ballads and bragging like a talkative, tittering Merry and Pippin.
La 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 la. Garth. Hi, everybody. This is me. This is the Least Haunted Podcast, and we're so glad you could join us.
Yes.
On this wonderful day. Well, welcome to spring. It is spring. Here we are.
Spring. Yeah, so if you are a longtime listener to the show, you probably saw the calendar and said, oh, this is going to be an episode of Crushing It, because that's usually what we do every year close to April 1st.
Psych, double psych, triple psych. It isn't.
No, it's a real episode.
It's a real episode.
For reals this time.
For realsies. We're not going to suddenly derail.
Yeah, I think we've done that before.
We did do that before. That's why it's a triple psych.
Okay. So instead, we're going to talk about a paranormal fool.
Ah.
Who also happens to be born on the 5th of April.
Oh, perfect. Well, happy birthday, Mr.
Well, we're going to be talking about... Well, hey, I'm getting ahead of myself.
The first thing that I forgot to mention in the last episode, before I forget, is please write a review on Apple Podcast.
Yes.
We've gotten a couple more recently. We will always read them out loud if we get them, and boy, it helps. And our numbers have been ticking up a little lately, I think. So I don't know why, but let's just keep that going.
So, like, review, post about it. Spread
Post
the pod.
about it on the Blue Skies. We have a Discord. We have a Patreon. All those things.
Yeah, the Discord is
mention.
where Garth's moniker came from, and that was from Ken with 2 N's.
Thank you, Ken.
Okay, so
Thanks to both ends.
all of that to say, today we are going to be talking about a very formative figure in modern 21st century paranormal circles. He is a brand at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And has really shaped how almost every other paranormal ghost show that's on TV and even YouTube operates or is presented. Today, we are talking about Zak Bagans and his ghost adventures.
Zak Bagans and his ghost adventures.
He says Bagans in the way
I'm
think
gonna
about
keep
it.
calling him Baggins because I've barely heard of this guy.
Yeah.
This is we were talking about this in the pre-show Polterbites, but this is one of those instances. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about ghost stuff. I know nothing about this whole genre on YouTube.
Yeah.
I've never watched ghost hunting anythings. I've only seen them parodied. So
Yeah.
this is like one of the more extreme examples of an episode where Cody tells me all about this thing. Because I'm coming in the dark. Tell me about this Zak Bagans.
He pronounces it Bagans.
Baggins.
And the way I remember it is that, he is begging to see a ghost.
Ah.
I think actually it probably was originally pronounced Baggins, but he, when he came on the scene, it was like in 2004.
It's spelled Baggins.
And so, yeah, but it's post Lord of the Rings. Yeah. And so he was probably trying to no.
It's Colbert, not Colbert.
Yeah, no one is going to take me seriously if they think I'm a hobbit.
Well, when I heard that last name,
mm-hmm.
Like, are there any? I didn't know that was a real last name. I mean, Tolkien, I figured, made that up. I didn't think anyone had that as a last name, but I guess it does exist. I wonder if there's any other historical Bagginses.
Oh yeah, I thought you were gonna say it's the pronunciation choice of like how some people pronounce Bowie as Bowie or Bowie.
Bowie. It's spelled Bowie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I digress. Zak Bagans.
Yes, Zak Bagans, born April 5th, 1977.
Mm-hmm. Happy birthday.
Yeah. So I'm trying to read up on his history. It's very curated because he is a public figure with a brand.
Oh, so that means the threshold of us what's the word where he can sue us? Slandering is like slightly higher.
Yeah.
I don't know where that line is, by the way, so we'll just tread along it with our eyes blindfolded.
I know he went to film school. He graduated from see, that's the thing, is Wikipedia doesn't say, but it was in another article I read about him. I think it's like the Academy of Film in LA.
Mm-hmm.
He was a guest on Wheel of Fortune in 1998, and he looks very square. But you see the picture like, oh yeah, that's totally him. Because as time goes on, he like werewolves into like a persona.
Oh, does he get more noticeably specific looking? Like,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So he started out as a whatever guy, and now he's like,
yes, to the point where you could like make a Funko Pop doll of him and look at him. Oh yeah, that's Zak Bagans.
Yeah, recognizable.
Like, he has a very distinct look.
Okay.
In 1998, he just looked like a late 90s college kid, who's going on TV and very square. He's wearing a blazer, you know, and he's got a 90s like long kind of bowl cut. He still has a very angular nose. That's a very distinctive Zak Bagans thing.
Oh, okay.
He's got a sharp nose. In the early 2000s, he is living in Las Vegas. He's interested in the paranormal now. As he would say as the intro to Ghost Adventures, the TV series that would eventually come out of this, used to start with him saying, "I'm Zak Bagans. I never believed in ghosts until I came face to face with one. Now I'm on a quest to recapture what I saw onto video, but with no big film crews following me around."
Oh, okay.
So he was living in Michigan for a while, and when he was living in Michigan, the apartment he was in was apparently haunted, and he says he saw the ghost of a woman who had been like calling his name, and that was the first time he like believed in ghosts.
Okay, so this was the experience that got him interested, and he's chasing this dragon.
Yes,
and has been for the rest of what his life has been so far.
Yes, this becomes
ever
his
since then.
this is his origin story moment.
Okay.
Right? Is that and so in 2004 he has this buddy Nick Groff, also born in April 19th. I only know this because my birthday is April 17th.
Happy birthday, Nick
April
Groff.
Birthdays. Yeah. And Nick and him decide to make a documentary. Mm-hmm. And then they get this other guy, Aaron Goodwin, to come and join them as their like audio tech. And
this is early 2000s?
2004.
Okay.
So they get like the best paranormal hunting equipment that Best Buy or Circuit City at the time could give you.
Look, we got HD cameras.
Yeah, they actually, you know what? Now that I'm saying it, since it's 2004, it probably was Circuit City.
Circuit
RIP.
City. Yeah. Or Fry's.
Not in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. The Best Buys are always
at Fry's.
Guaranteed.
So when I say the best equipment they can get, it is like very early digital cameras that have a night vision function.
Oh, yeah.
I
had one of those.
Yeah. If you can dig it out, we could recreate this.
Oh, my gosh.
And then
that would be fun to do, actually.
An actual little like handheld tape recorder. And that's like it.
Nice.
So they are very bare bones.
Bare bones.
Which is respectable at this
point.
It
is, yeah. I'm rooting for them.
So they drive around. They spend like 2 weeks driving around various ghost towns in Nevada. And they don't get a lot of results. And so
why don't they go back to the apartment he was in when he saw the
ghost? They actually do.
Oh, okay.
Because
it seems like that's where you'd want to start.
Yeah, the eventual documentary that comes out has a scene in the beginning where he goes back to his apartment and he's like interviewing a guy who's like doing construction on remodeling the apartment. And that guy gives him a look as he's telling a story like, this is crazy bullshit. And
but I'm also on camera. I'm just going to smile.
And so then the guy's like, oh, well, I heard a lady committed suicide on the top floor penthouse. Maybe that's who you saw, jerking his chain. So anyway, they drive around for like a couple weeks and they don't get the results they want. And so they are like going to give up, and then they decide like we're going to make like one last push, and they pick Virginia City. Now, Virginia City, that is where the Comstock lode. That's it was a silver mine.
What state is Virginia City?
Nevada.
Nevada. Okay.
It's actually kind of like what spurred Nevada to even become a state, because states had to have a certain.
It was a territory before.
Yeah, and you had to have a certain population to warrant becoming a state. Or enough financial interest in becoming a state. That's why California became a state so quick.
Well, we got into that a little bit with the Pacific Northwest corner.
Yeah.
Where we were talking about, making states out of territories.
But in the case of California, our population boomed because of the gold rush.
Yes.
And there was an incentive for... Because, like, why is California a state when, like, there's all these territories in between that aren't states?
Yeah, aren't we making states progressively moving west? Why did we jump to the coast?
Yeah, because, financial interests and gold rush. So there is a silver rush that happens in Nevada. And gold. Because it's the eastern side of the Sierras. So if the Sierras have got gold, so the other side should have it too, right? And so
maybe.
So they go into Nevada, and... Virginia City is they call it the Comstock lode.
Isn't there a Comstock Act?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it has to do with that.
So
there's a big influx of population that comes into Nevada. Virginia City is a boom town, but it's built like on the side of a hill. Very similar to Jerome in Arizona, where it's built on this like very steep hill. And so like the town is built on top of the mines. Mark Twain went there for a while. And worked on the paper in Virginia City for a bit before going to San Francisco.
And meeting Data and
Guinan. Exactly. Yeah. Traveling to the 23rd century.
And I have the perfect solution for you. I'm the one who should return to the 19th century and remain there.
Anyway, Virginia City, a lot of activity there. Supposedly super haunted. So they're like, okay, we're going to go to Virginia City. And it turns out that was a good choice on their part because they actually get quote unquote evidence in Virginia
they found the ghosts. Well, case closed. I guess he can move on with his life and do something else now, right?
So the evidence that they get in Virginia City is they catch a supposed like shadow figure on film on very, very grainy black and white night vision film. On a 2004 digital camera.
Not very impressive, though.
There is a figure walking across the screen right to left.
He stops, turns his head, and then keeps going.
Does the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And that footage they claimed is it's super compelling.
Okay.
And then they go to the cemetery at night. I've been to the cemetery. It's really cool. See, Allison and I... We enjoy going to cemeteries when we travel.
Oh, cemeteries are fun. Yeah, Kelly and I do too. Especially if there's really old graves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's like a manicured park that you can walk around in and like see history. But they're there at night. Apparently, they just like they say they went to the county sheriff's office and said they wanted to film there and to see if they needed a permit or anything. And the sheriff just gives them the keys, like, here you go. And they're like, the sheriff says, we keep it locked up at night because people keep trying to get in there to hunt ghosts. It's okay.
You kids look legit, though.
Yeah,
I see you got your digital cameras. You're not ghost hunting. You're probably just filming an amateur film. Go, have at it.
And so they go in there at night, and they
don't let those ghost hunters in.
They think they catch a like spirit light, which is just I think is headlights on a neighboring road on because the way that like I said, it's all built on a hill, and the cemetery's on this little spur of land that sticks out into like a canyon, basically.
Well, and in the dark, with any weird optical thing can happen.
Yeah.
From a light that's not even on screen but refracting.
It's a brown, but I think it really is a brown mountain light situation where they are seeing a light that is far, far in the distance, and that's why it seems so dim.
But you can't tell.
Yeah, and it's moving, and then it disappears because it went out of the line of sight. While they're in the cemetery, they sit down, and Zak claims that something pulls on his shoulder. He feels a force, and they freak out and they run away. They legitimately zoinks, and
it's like
run.
A Blair Witch Project looking thing.
And they run, and as they've edited them running away so that there's like cuts from each of their cameras of random shit, and then they like flash on screen a very racist, very stereotypical like airbrushed painting or a sculpture of like a wooden Indian in a headdress that they then like do like negative image on it. So
Oh,
it's like,
I see. Yeah.
and it flashes on the screen, and that happens a couple of times because earlier they found a like Native American figurine on one of the graves. And so they just assume, oh, this must be an Indian grave.
What's weird about that is like if they're looking for actual ghosts, like what is the theory behind the editing where you're just gonna throw in spooky imagery? Now it's becoming entertainment.
Yes.
That if you're doing a documentary, you're
Yeah.
not gonna throw in
Yeah.
little fun flashes.
Documentary is an heavy air quotes.
Yeah, clearly.
Okay. So they go back to where they're spending the night, which is inside of a old cabin that some miners would stay in while they were working between shifts. They'd stay in this cabin, and they had left a tape recorder, and they got an EVP that apparently says it's the devil,
Oh.
and that freaks them out.
Oh, okay.
And that concludes their investigation in Virginia City. They use that footage that they caught of the supposed shadow figure gets press coverage, and they end up on the news.
Wow.
In like local news in Las Vegas. And
Oh,
Reno.
so this is how they're getting some notoriety for the
Yes,
first time.
This is their
The beginning.
like, origin. Yeah.
Okay.
So based on that little bit of media notoriety, somebody contacts them and says, "Well, I've got a place you got to come see. I'm down in Goldfield, Nevada."
Oh boy, they're off to the races.
Yeah, Goldfield, Nevada. Come to the Goldfield Hotel. It's been abandoned since the 50s. It's an old gold mining town from the early 1900s, and it's haunted as shit. Come down. And so they're like, oh, okay, we got to go document this. The documentary's not over. We got an extra inning. Let's go.
I love these gung-ho guys who freak the fuck out when any little
Yes.
thing happens. It's a great
they-
combination of personality traits.
They say this time Aaron can't join them. So it's just Nick and Zach. And they drive down there. And they interview people from the area and are getting like ghost stories from people. Oh, I seen the ghost kind of shit. And they meet this lady who used to be the caretaker of this abandoned building. And her name is Virginia, which is, we just came from Virginia City. And now we meet Virginia. Yeah. So everything has important meaning. Everything is significant.
Okay.
Virginia is a kook. And I fucking love her. I'm going to assume she's passed away at this point because she was like in her late 70s, and that was 21 years ago. So I'm just going to say R.I.P. Virginia.
And if not,
Yeah.
we still love you.
Because she is like the old lady who's like, I'll tell you anything you want to hear. No, shit. Let's go in the building. Let me tell you about the prostitute who was chained to a radiator.
Do you get the impression she's making it up for fun because she's a camera crew in front of her?
Maybe. Because
Okay.
at one point she even like talks about how she's like talking, I'm back, it's me. Like she's talking to the spirits like they're her friends, but then she also talks about how she got slammed against a wall and some other psychics saw it happen. So they're like, oh, we're going to bring you back here tonight, Virginia. You were a peach. So this segment though, it becomes a staple of all their ghost adventures going forward. Is that this establishes the format is we go to the place in the daytime, we walk around,
okay.
we get
Familiarize yourself.
eyewitness testimonies from people, and then they pick places they're going to investigate based on where people said they saw a ghost. So they like will put maybe like a little tape X on the floor and like, okay, we're going to put a static camera here. So they like plan their shit out. They're also planning shots.
Yeah.
You know, they're
planning shots. Yeah.
But like, you know, if you're somebody who thinks that something is being hoaxed, this is a great time to get a lay of the land and say like, well, they already said something has happened in this room. So there's definitely going to be evidence. And he went to film school. I'm not trying to say that he's faking things, but if he were to,
this would be a thing you would do is to plan it out.
You're planning your shoot.
Yeah, I think that would be the case whether or not you're faking it.
Yeah, I think even in real documentaries too.
Yeah, so I think that would be the case either way.
Yeah. But it is what we would call Harry Price we would call if we were talking about Harry Price and for example Borley Rectory. They're salting the mind.
Perhaps
they are putting in the viewer the idea that when we come back to this room, we already expect blank to happen here.
Yeah, if you wanted to be more like a double-blind study about it, you would go in without any preconceived notions whatsoever.
Yeah.
Would be the alternative to this. Yeah, okay.
But it's a time to really build up the story of the place. So that becomes a thing they're always going to do going forward. And then it enters into this establishes another thing that becomes their gimmick, is that they are locked in overnight. They can't leave if they wanted.
Yeah, right.
Right?
I don't buy that for a second.
They call them their lockdowns, and they claim this is also to
Yeah, what
assure
is
that there is no contamination of somebody else there. The building's locked up.
Oh, I see. Well, okay, so somebody locks them in?
Yes.
So that person could contaminate because they have the keys, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And
you
immediately see the flaws.
Is there like another reason? Is it like, oh well, the ghosts are more likely to show up if we are in a position where we have less strength or power?
I guess it's to add the drama that, like, no matter how crazy shit gets, they're there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
They're
okay.
stuck. That's also why they do things at night, is like, oh, there's not going to be people walking through here at night. Other than, us.
I mean, it makes sense to look for ghosts at night. I get that.
I don't... See, that's the thing. We talked about this with Elizabeth Kyle. I don't agree, because most stories you hear about people encountering ghosts are people who are visiting these famous places during tourist hours, i.e. in the daytime.
Oh, really?
Like, statistically, more ghost sightings occur in the daytime.
But that's just because more people are there in the daytime,
Yes.
so it would be skewed that way.
But if a place is haunted, it is equally haunted at night.
I
or in
guess
the
I guess
daytime.
I always imagine ghosts are so hard to see and they glow a little. So if it's really dark, you'll see them better, and they might be totally invisible in the daylight.
But
That's just That's what I think ghosts are like, and I don't think there are ghosts. But if there were,
I think that's part of the logic that they use on these shows.
yeah,
is
it's
that,
easier to see in the dark.
With the night vision camera, it's infrared, and so the ghosts are in a different spectrum. But you go back to
Well,
like
infrared
actual...
is heat, and I don't know about. Okay, well, whatever. They're not real
Yes.
anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, fair enough.
First, before they get locked in, they bring Virginia back. They do a little like Ouija board spirit session where she seemingly is possessed, but unaware that she's possessed. But they film it, and so like they don't tell her this happened. That comes in later.
Okay. They don't tell her that they filmed her possession?
Yeah, this comes later. They like show her, hey, look, you said this crazy thing where you...
I don't remember saying that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Oh,
gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha.
Then they get locked in, and so now it's just them in the building, walking around to revisit the places where they were told they were going to see things. Evidence that they get. Orbs, lots of orbs. But as we've established, orbs are not real.
They are real. They're optical. They're real like rainbows, Cody. they're in your eye, but they're optical illusions. They're little dust particles that are out of focus.
Yeah, out of focus dust particles, spiders, bugs, insects, all that backscatter. So it is not a ghost. So they get orbs, but that's nothing. They were told previously that around this one corner, people sometimes see the shadow figure of, they call him a gunslinger guy. Like a guy in a cowboy hat that walks around the corner.
Now that's a stereotype I can get behind. Flash a gunslinger.
Yeah,
briefly in negative.
They get some film of that spot where they claim that there's a shadow figure, but it's like partially around a corner, and you never really get a good look at it because they are filming the film. They're filming the LCD screen on the camera, which is like, well, you have that footage. Why don't you just show that? Yeah,
you're obscuring it more.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
A few EVPs, and then they go down into the basement. And this is this basement sequence is what makes his career.
Oh, okay.
So if the shadow figure that in the Washoe Club in Virginia City is like the one that first kind of got them a little bit of media attention, this incident that was about to happen is what sells the documentary. This is the moment. This is, Eureka. This is the birth of man, finger touch. So they go down into the basement and they're hearing noises. And they're about to walk into a room. And as they're about to walk into the room, Nick says, this is the room where they said that stuff happens. And they walk in and Zak is like, is that you making all that noise? And as he says that, an object, maybe a brick, flies off the ground through the flashlight beam towards his head. And then there's like two pieces of wood that fall down in the background. They scream, they lose their shit, and then it becomes like Blair Witch style, even more so.
Yeah,
where they get
this whole thing feels like the Blair Witch.
They get separated, and so you have a few minutes of just like random footage, and you can hear them yelling for each other.
Okay.
Where are you? Blah, blah, blah. And then one last piece of evidence, which is a jump scare where I'm not sure whose camera it is. It might be Nick's, because I think you can hear Zak yelling, Nick. He's like right next to the room where supposedly the prostitute had been chained to a radiator and left to die way back in the day. And then he's like, hello. And then you hear like a crying sound next to him, and he like pans into the room and it's empty, and then it cuts to black. And then they reveal like, oh yeah, we found each other and we just had to get out. And so we jumped off a second story fire escape.
Oh, right. Because they locked themselves in.
Yes.
I guess they're going to have to lock all the windows next time because they found a way out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we move on, if this was like the thing that made it, can I see the brick thing?
Oh yeah.
I want to get my own impression of this.
I mean, I'm going to have to cut it out for copyright reasons.
Sure.
I can't have any...
No, I'll just describe
it.
Okay, I just watched it. That was lame. That was it? I barely saw a brick kind of fly a little, like it was being pulled from a string. That was, like, it?
That was it.
I mean, maybe in context, they built it up in a way where that would be more exciting.
Yeah, you just saw 24 seconds.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a lot more exciting.
It's analyzed, it's brightened up. They have a guy whose name was Slim Richard? Or Slim Richie is this guy's name, who's like,
Who is this?
They have this guy who's like analyzes film.
Oh, I see.
On the documentary. And his name is Slim Richie. I remember because I made the joke that his friends call him Thin Dick.
You know they do.
Yeah, we watched this in the Monster Squadron the other night as a group. We watched the original documentary. So I saw this when it premiered. So they filmed it in 2000. So this was filmed in 2004.
Okay.
It did a film festival circuit and got some awards. Paranormal people fucking loved it.
What was it called?
Ghost Adventures.
Ghost Adventures, okay.
And then in 2007, the Sci-Fi Channel says, well, we want to broadcast it. So we'll show it. It'll have a TV premiere. And that's when I saw it. I saw it, I think, in 2007 on the Sci-Fi Channel. And when I saw it, I was still in firm believer mode.
Oh,
and
really?
Yes. And so I kind of like bought into it.
Well,
like,
yeah,
wow.
you were like, oh, this is the new, because I'm sure it was hyped up and everything.
And we hadn't really seen a ghost hunting thing in this style before. This documentary kind of style.
The Blair Witch style, really.
Yes, yeah. It's the found footage without having to be found, right?
You know what? Maybe I'm doing it a disservice because I've got to remember in context of the media at the time.
Yeah, there was no YouTube yet.
That would have been a lot.
Filmed.
Maybe that would have been a lot more compelling.
Yeah,
because I feel like I've seen that clip a gazillion times, and I don't even watch these things. But it's like, oh, it's a simple fake.
And prior to this, there were paranormal TV shows that would have a single segment that would be like, oh, we took a psychic into the building in the dark and we like filmed them.
But more often than not, it would be like a reenactment.
Yeah.
Or unsolved mysteries or something.
Yeah, or on like the Sci-Fi Channel show Sightings, they would do these bits where they had this guy who was a psychic. He had like a big salt and pepper mustache, and he kind of looked like Geraldo Rivera. And he would go into these buildings and they'd have like night vision camera because they could afford it because they were network TV shows. And it was the hot thing. And so what allowed Ghost Adventures to take off also is that it's the first time that the public is getting this kind of tech to make independent films in this way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that would be. Before then,
YouTube didn't exist when this was filmed.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So it wasn't like you could just. So they actually had to find a way to sell this.
Yeah, so that people could see it. You can't just post it.
And that's the other thing too, is that that's why it was the perfect storm. You had to have the right recipe for it to be big enough to get like picked up. Because you couldn't just self-produce this kind of thing.
He had it running around in independent film circuits.
Yes.
Festivals.
Then it's seen on Sci-Fi Channel, and then the Travel Channel says, "Hey, we're going to give you a show. Do you want to keep doing this? Like exact same thing?"
Well, I found the ghost, and that was my original goal, but what are you offering me?
Yes.
Oh, I'll go look for more ghosts.
Travel Channel says, "Yeah, we're going to give you a show," and it premieres October 17th, just in time for Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
Season 2008.
Okay, got it.
So we went. Filmed in 2004.
October 2008. The market is taking a nosedive and Obama's about to be elected.
Yes. Filmed in 2004.
I'm there.
They get the documentary. They finish editing and like start shopping around in 2006. It ends up on Sci-Fi Channel 2007. 2008, you have a television deal.
Got it.
That's a pretty quick. That's like 3 years or 4 years.
I guess, yeah. I mean, for that time, that would have been.
So, Ghost Adventures.
The TV show.
The TV show.
Is it more of that?
Yes.
We're going to just keep going. We got our format down.
So, guess how many seasons, Garth?
Well, it's still going, right?
Yeah, still going.
So it started in 2008?
Yes.
So that's 12 plus 5, 17?
They claim 28 seasons.
Wait a minute. So
I think in the way that like South Park would split their seasons.
Oh, okay.
But
so
they
they're
would
doing,
then count that as 2 seasons.
They're doing
in a year.
double
Yes.
batches,
Yeah.
two seasons a year. Okay.
275 episodes.
Wow.
And many fucking spin-offs. You have Ghost Adventures Aftershocks, which is Aftershocks is them then like talking about previous episodes and going back to revisiting locations. Paranormal Challenge, which is it's a competitive reality TV show, so it's like now like gamified. Deadly Possessions, which was following Zak around as he looked for items because he ends up opening a haunted museum in Las Vegas, which is a tourist attraction.
Oh, okay.
And so it was him looking for items. Basically, he went to...
He's Indiana Jonesing it.
He went to Ed and Lorraine Warren's museum and was like, I want this.
Yeah, okay, of
Right?
course.
But in Las
I can
Vegas.
see a lot of crossover between those two. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a bunch of shows that just are spin-offs and come out of it. Expedition Unknown, Ghost Nation, Kindred Spirits, Destination Fear, Paranormal Lockdown.
Ghosts of Hawaii, Ghosts of Malibu, Desperate Ghosts of...
They've done live shows.
Oh.
Where they've done like... And those did not go over so well.
Yeah, because you can't do editing and shit.
Yes, exactly.
It's probably a lot less interesting when you don't get to edit all
and
the
I'll
boring
bring up the
stuff
live
out.
shows when we get to the section on drama. Because
Okay.
there's drama.
Where's the beef?
The show, as it goes on, though, it starts building almost like lore in canon.
You'd have to, in order to keep it compelling, where you keep almost kind of seeing ghosts, it would mostly need to be interesting because of the people. I feel like you'd keep tuning in because you want to see Zak Bagans and his friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's such a... You're
But they're
looking
not-
for
yeah.
a thing you never quite see, so if it's going to be compelling, they've got to be charismatic characters, right?
In the same way that the Jersey Shore is charismatic, I would say.
I mean, I guess they are for some people.
Okay,
That's
okay,
another
so-
one I haven't
yeah,
seen,
so
but
the persona,
it must appeal to somebody, right?
They started off as early 2000s bros.
Okay.
Now, we were 18 in 2004. We knew
Yeah.
bros.
Yeah,
You
sure,
know,
sure.
Bro. The guys that say bro, they're
Bro.
kind of like pop punk listeners,
Yeah.
extreme sports guys. Bro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's how they kind of start.
Okay.
Then they start to merge into, if I had like, this is why I pull up my evolution chart of like the rising ape. They then evolve
From
into,
turn of the century, bro.
yeah, into emo bros.
Oh, because they're getting dark.
It's getting dark.
So dark.
Yeah, but
do
not
they
like-
wear like they're not wearing eyeliner and like
No,
goth?
not that kind of emo, but the shirts that they are wearing are, Zak starts wearing a very, he starts bulking up. He starts, getting some muscle, getting cut.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
because you got to fight those demons.
He's
and then
yoked now.
He is wearing really tight, like kind of skater type clothes, but what Hot Topic skaters?
Oh yeah. Okay, gotcha.
It also starts featuring like crosses because he's got to like protect himself from the demons. So it's got there's like vague Christianity mixed in.
Yeah.
There's like a brand that people might be familiar with that was called Not of This World. That was like a Christian clothing band that was supposed to be like kind of edgy.
Yeah, the edgy Christian, kind of
Yes.
like Christian rock, but like the cross is like, it's not quite covered in barnacles. And it's like it's like kind of like heavy metal-y. Like
Yeah.
there's kind of loops
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
So that's kind of what
This
starts
isn't
happening.
your dad's Jesus. This
Yeah.
is
His hair starts
Yeah.
to get kind of more like gelled spiked up. He starts wearing really thick square-rimmed glasses.
Yeah, he's becoming a caricature. Yeah.
He starts to get tan.
He's developing a visual
Yeah, he starts to
style.
get tan. He has a goatee. He also very early on starts wearing respirator masks whenever he's.
Oh.
That becomes kind of his like ghost hunting look, but nobody else in the group is wearing the respirator masks. And there's two explanations here. One is that it could be really easy to fake EVPs if somebody can see your mouth moving, make ghost noises behind a mask.
You could also do that in the edit, but
Yeah.
if there's other people, yeah.
But his explanation is that he actually has really bad asthma, and he is going to areas that have
Yeah, he's
a
going
lot
in
of
very
dust,
dusty areas.
dusty areas,
Okay.
mold.
That's actually
and-
probably really smart.
and so- yeah, and
now,
actually-
now that I think about it, yeah, you,
So
you really
I will
should wear a mask.
I do give him the benefit of that. He also has, even before COVID hit, he was like a proponent of masking up
All
when you're
right.
sick. And so during COVID, he was like posting, like telling people, just fucking wear the mask.
There you go.
So
All right,
I will meet Zak Bagans
Good.
at this point where I'm like, you know what? You and I.
This is not a character assassination. There are some things you agree on.
Yes, we
Masks.
are on the
Yes.
same page here about the importance of masking up, especially
right.
if you're going into these locations. But I would say, like, I'd encourage your buddies to be masking up at the same time then. Although last night I watched...
Well, it's a personal choice.
Yeah. Well, last night I watched an episode that was filmed during COVID, and they are wearing masks when they're around other people.
Well, that's good.
So,
okay. All right.
Yeah. So I will give them that. Another thing that I will meet Zach on and say, tip the hat, good job, sir, is he is an animal lover, and he donates a lot of money to the Nevada SPCA. And,
Wonderful.
Whenever he gets a dog, it's a rescue dog.
Okay.
So
he has positive qualities.
Yes. But this character that he starts developing, man, is very fucking obnoxious because you have to keep ramping it up.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, how do you up the ante when your premise is you're looking for a thing that you kind of barely ever quite find?
Well, you start adding new tech, ghost tech.
Sure.
You start adding...
New characters, I would think. You'd need to mix it up a little.
Yeah. They start getting reoccurring people.
Yeah.
They have like a team that is like a backup team of people, like experts that they call in. So they end up working with this guy, Bill Chappell, who's an electrical engineer who's building ghost hunting tech for them. A husband and wife EVP expert team from Reno, Nevada. Mark and Debbie Constantino. That lasts until 2014.
Oh.
And I'll explain how that ends because there's drama.
That's in the drama section of this episode.
In 2014, also, Nick Groff, who was the original...
He was one of the OGs.
Yeah, the original documentary starts with a Zak Bagans, Nick Groff film. They split, and there's bad blood there. There's drama. That'll come up.
Okay.
But when that happens, then they rotate in two other guys, Billy Tolley and Jay Waisley, who have been like in the peripheral, in the background, where like if they needed somebody on site to act as, because eventually it becomes Nick, Aaron, and Zach go in and are like walking around investigating things. And then they have a headquarters where they have these two guys who are monitoring audio live and watching the video feeds live for in real time stuff. That's Billy and Jay, and then they eventually get rotated into like now they're walking around because they lose Nick. So yeah, the show does change. We are going to get into how it changes in a bunch of crazy ways, and I'm going to explain some of the lore to you. But first, we got to dig for some bones.
Okay, let's dig for some bones, and then we'll be back with more Ghost Adventures.
What was that laugh? I asked myself. I'm trying to recreate that as much as possible. I don't think I've ever laughed like that in my life. That was new. What is that? This is my new laugh for 2024. New year, new laugh.
We have a spanking new podcast for your ear holes called Doom Generation.
Available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Later, Doomers.
Do you like beer?
Of course you do.
Do you like good food?
You better believe it.
Then we have the show for you.
It's the Hoppy Trails Podcast.
I'm Nick.
I'm Travis, and on each episode of Hoppy Trails, we invite you to come along on our journey to explore craft beverages and the foods that accompany them.
Check out Hoppy Trails on hoppytrailspod.com or listen wherever you find your podcasts. Connect with us on Instagram at hoppytrailspod or reach out to hoppytrailspod@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you.
Come travel the Hoppy Trails with us, and remember to always say yes to the hoppy ending.
Cheers!
Hey, it's Cody from the future, just jumping in with a quick content warning. In a bit, we talk about drama and scandals associated with ghost adventures, and we mention violence and suicide and some domestic abuse. It's not graphic, but some might find it distressing, so just wanted to give you all a heads up. When we get to the part about drama, look out. Now, back to the rest of the show.
Well, those were certainly shimbones, weren't they? Cody?
And some rusty roots.
Those were some rusty roots. They set me on my way.
Okay, so what I think we're going to do now is to get a I mean, I could talk about Ghost Adventures aimlessly forever, but to really give you an idea of like how bonkers this show has become, I've sent you some Ghost Adventures bingo cards.
Okay, so describe to me how these work. I'm seeing a 5x5. There's a few of them though.
Oh yeah.
9.
Scroll down. Yeah, those are. Oh, you're getting the ones that I already filled in watching the show.
Okay, so do I go down?
Yeah, let's jump to like page.
Page
4.
4. The first one that isn't marked. That's
Okay.
the 4th
Yeah.
page. Okay. So I see a whole bunch of different phrases on this 5x5 grid.
Yes.
So do I just pick one? And
Pick
then
one,
you'll
and I'm
tell
gonna
me about it?
explain to you what the significance.
What's the political ad?
That one is actually one that I do not know.
Okay, what about?
And I think that's probably from later seasons.
Okay, Zak taunts the ghost.
Okay, so Zak's approach to ghost hunting.
Zak's name is spelled Z-A-K.
Yes, that's how he spells it.
Okay,
So
that's pretty cool.
90s cool.
That's pretty cool.
So his approach is that he believes that you can evoke ghosts through emotional responses. They feed on emotional energy.
Ghost.
Yeah, so he goes in and he like taunts them, and so he will like do things that are supposed to anger a ghost, to elicit a response. He will say like, "You want me? Here I am. Come and get me.
Come get me,
Yeah,
brah.
that kind of shit.
Okay.
Yes. So he taunts the ghosts. Another?
Okay, let's do equipment malfunction. I'm sure that happens a lot.
Yes. Okay. So if equipment malfunctions, it can either mean one of two things. One, it malfunctions in such a way that is interpreted as evidence of a haunting, like it drains the batteries
I
or
see.
something.
Yeah, that's the Occam's razor right there.
Yeah. Or to combine it with another one that's on this card. At this exact moment is a phrase he says all the time. So it'd be like, I start to see a shadow figure, and at this exact moment, our camera equipment malfunctions. And
so you couldn't see
Yes.
the shadow figure.
But the fact that it malfunctioned in such a way is proof that there was a presence there.
What are the odds?
So it's either
Yeah.
proof that something's there or an excuse for why you don't get evidence.
Okay, I like this one. It's in quotes. Manifest yourself.
Yes. Manifest yourself
Does
falls...
he say that all the time?
It falls under the taunting heading. And so,
Come at me, bro. Manifest yourself.
Well, yeah. So it's usually a command to whatever spirit to show itself in some way.
Okay.
I don't know if he necessarily always uses the phrase "manifest yourself," but all I can think is "celebrate yourself." But it's usually like, if you're here, move this cup. Yeah.
What is at this exact moment?
That's what I just said. He uses that phrase a lot of time. It's either when it's usually when two pieces of evidence are concurrent. So it could also be like, they're in one room and he's taunting a ghost, and then meanwhile in like another room where they have a static night cam set up, an orb will drift by, and he'll claim that the two things are related. So at this exact moment, while I'm doing this in this room, this is happening in this room.
So is this whole bingo meant to be played in one episode? Like, how many can we get?
Yes.
Because I see you've crossed a few out. Those were from the episodes you've watched.
Yes.
I like this one. Latent homosexuality.
Okay, so, and this also falls under, there's also a square on some of the cards, because not all the cards are the same. There's also one for sexual tension. So, because they are bros, there's also a level of like toxic masculinity that is present here.
Get off me, gay. Like,
well, they will make vaguely and overtly homophobic jokes, but in a way where like they're trying not to like say it. They also will like, sometimes they be the unsaid, like, that's what she said, because they'll say something that like in the show Archery would be like, hey, phrasing, like that sound kind of like vaguely sexual. Sure. So they'll build that up and play it for laughs.
Have they tried to get with the times since 2008?
Well, in 2004, in the original documentary, Aaron says that he's too scared to spend the night in the cabin, and he's probably going to sleep in the car. And he's like, I mean, I don't want to be a vagina or anything. Like, he thinks he's politically correct enough not to say, I don't want to be a pussy, but he still makes the joke, and he still is implying that
I don't want to sleep with dudes or anything. Like,
so you get that. Then you get in some places where they talk about spirits that might sexually assault people, and so they start playing that up. So yeah, there is this like vague homoeroticism.
Yeah, that falls into another one that's Aaron makes a bad joke.
Yes, yes, Aaron makes bad jokes. Although I actually do have to say, I watched an episode last night where they did a bit that actually played really well. And I was like, actually, that's a good bit. Like, that's pretty funny.
What was it?
So it was that they went to, they were at the Joshua Tree Inn in Yucca Valley, which is, or maybe in 29 Palms. Anyway, we were just there. I was just there a couple of weeks ago. It's where the musician Graham Parsons died in the hotel. And so they're going to try to contact his spirit. Now, when they're there, I guess they had hotel accommodations at a nearby, like, Native American casino hotel that are really nice. But while they're there, the person who runs this, like, really rundown 1970s motel is like, oh, well, you know, we have rooms available. And they're like, oh, well, we should, like, stay here the night. So Zach and Billy decide they're going to spend the night. And then, like, Aaron and Jay are like, fuck that. We have, like, 5-star accommodations at this hotel. We'd much rather do that. And so they split up. And so then they start, like, playing what they each is doing at the same time, which is, like, Zach and Billy being unable to sleep because they're in, like, this place that's really super haunted and they're being bothered.
And the other guys are, like, wearing, like, nice robes
they're
and
jumping
getting bubble
on the bed.
baths.
Yeah, one's jumping on the bed. They're calling room service. Like, hello, room service?
That's pretty funny.
And then, yeah, then it's
funny.
them, like, sitting out with their feet in the hot tub, smoking cigars. I wonder what Zach's doing right now. And I'm like, yeah, that actually played pretty good.
Someone is scratched, Cody.
Yes, okay, so scratches. That happens in the very first episode of the series. They go to Bob Mackey's Music World, which is like a honky-tonk in Kentucky, which used to be a slaughterhouse where supposedly a satanic murder happened at one point in the past, it is said. And now it's a honky-tonk, and so they go to investigate there, and while they're there, Zach gets 3 scratch marks on his back. This would be the very first instance of scratches happening on somebody, usually in 3s, because 3, man, that's like mocking the Trinity.
Those are cartoon ghosts. They're scratching
well, no,
without
this
their
is where it becomes demons. Demons become a big
there's
part.
demons.
Demons.
That's where, because he's Christian, you gotta...
Yeah, demons become a big part of the lore of Ghost Adventures.
Zach mispronounces something. Does this happen a lot?
Yeah, Zach mispronounces things, and again, this is another place where I will meet Zach, is that I mispronounce things sometimes, but it's sometimes comical, the things that he will say.
That he says just like...
I mean, I'm talking like censors instead of censors in old Star Trek.
He's just a fan of Star Trek, yeah. Exactly. Let's see, Spirit Box doesn't say words.
So the Spirit Box, aka the broken radio...
Oh, yeah.
It scans through, right?
Right.
And so there are times where it's like, they get nothing. They just,
okay.
And nothing happens.
Weird ghost detection method.
Yeah, so that is always that there's some new piece of technology that they're going to pull out and debut.
Some new one, okay.
Some new one.
That's got to be fun.
And so that's where they had they used to have the engineer build Chapel, who would make.
I imagine it's kind of like in the old James Bond movies when.
They had a Q.
Yeah, the Q gives him all his gadgets he's going to use in this episode.
They also used to use a device called a Mel meter.
I've heard of this. You told me.
Yeah, and this is the really depressing one where there was a guy, Greg Galka, and his daughter Melissa dies in a car. Yeah, dies in a car crash, and so like he just can't let go, and he's convinced that her spirit's visiting him, and he goes full on Casper the movie 1995 and decides he's going to build a device to like not resurrect his daughter, but talk to her. Spoilers for the movie Casper 1995.
Oh shit! No, damn it.
He starts developing all this technology that allows ghosts to communicate, and he names them after her. He also is like any ghost show that you watch today on YouTube or otherwise will have a thing called a REM pod, which is a little it's a little hockey puck looking thing that has blinking lights and antennas. And the idea is that when ghosts come close to it, it detects their electromagnetic field and little lights will blink and it'll sound. And so it's like a motion detector for ghosts kind of thing, a ghost detecting thing. That guy also invented that device.
All right, I'm going to do one more.
Yeah.
Triple replay.
Triple replay is that they will replay the same footage of the orb or the EVP or whatever 3 times at least.
Is one of them in slow motion?
Yes. And there's always they had a lot of sound effects and musical stings too.
Oh yeah.
So the whole show has like any time something paranormal happens, there's like a weird metal noise, and it's supposed or like a. And it's
Let's see that again.
So
slow down.
And they don't like pretend that that's actually that noise is happening. It is purely for the dramatic effect
non-diegetic.
to draw your attention to it. They show it 2 or 3 times. In the case of EVPs, they will then like put a caption of what the EVP supposedly says that you're supposed to hear. It never sounds like they say it sounds like.
But once they put that in your head, now it sounds like it.
Even then, sometimes it doesn't, man. Yeah, we've never captured so many Class A EVPs. I don't know if you remember. Class A is when you can clearly hear what's supposedly being said.
I forgot
and
about that.
it's not. It's just like a static. They will go. And like, oh, did you see that? It said, "Please help me." What the fuck?
It was the same number of syllables.
And that's the big thing too. The big takeaway of Ghost Adventures and the Zak Bagans style is that everything is evidence of anything.
Yeah.
And so no matter what they capture, it can be squeezed into the mold, the amorphous mold of that's evidence.
Got it.
Even absence of evidence, you know.
Then there's, of course, the question of what's the mystery of the dog barking in the night? But the dog didn't bark in the night. That was the mystery.
Yeah. It's every little thing is somehow proof. And then also like mixing in the demon stuff. So it's gone like off the rails. Like the plot has been lost.
Is it so you haven't seen every episode, but you've watched a smattering throughout to sort of get an idea.
I watched the first few seasons of this as it aired.
Okay.
As a guilty pleasure, even then.
But you probably haven't seen many more recent ones until researching this. So you can really be like,
it's all on HBO Max.
It used to be like this, now it's like that.
That's what I did, yeah.
Is it so as they keep changing things up and upping the ante and trying to keep it interesting, is it more like far-fetched now than it used to be?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
No, it is crazy.
Like, are there more obvious, like, because, I mean, we saw barely a brick kind of get thrown in the background and it was huge.
Nothing.
Now, are they showing more, like, amazing visuals?
That's the weird thing, is that the evidence has not gotten any better.
Well, good for them for restraint. Because I would have expected if they keep getting closer to jumping the shark, they would kind of.
I don't think we've ever seen a brick fly through the air again.
Okay.
But you do now like have there's more things that they will claim are shadow figures. It's also the same way that like there's this like treadmill of paranormal evidence that's always like new things come down the pipeline that catch on, it become the hot thing.
Yeah, there's
and then it fades
trendy
out.
things.
Yes,
right?
trendy things.
Yeah.
And so as like the new trendy things
I saw
happen,
stick figures on the.
Yes. Okay. Stick figures. That also it relies on a piece of crazy equipment. That's the SLR camera.
Is that the one that tries to see human bodies?
Yes.
And for like games.
Yes.
Like if you're doing a Wii or something.
And even
it'll
it was originally part of the Xbox Kinect. And
it tries to look at it tries to recognize human bodies, and when it thinks it sees one, it will superimpose a very simple stick figure over it that it moves along with you so that it can match the character you're doing in the game. So if you jump, the stick figure jumps, and that means the character jumps.
And so what they do is they like put this thing in a room, and they're like, oh, there's no people in here, but it's seeing stick figures.
It's seeing that in anything. It's looking for it.
And that is, there's I think Skeptical Inquirer had a great article where they actually talked to the people who built this device, who were explaining they are using this thing wrong. You are getting false results.
The computer is experiencing pareidolia.
Yeah, these are glitches. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so those are the stick figures.
Okay.
So yeah, I watched a smattering of it, and now we're going to get into what everybody wants.
Part 3, drama.
Scandalous!
Let's get into it, Cody. What are the hot takes? What's
So
the hot goss?
So in 2014, Nick Groff leaves the show.
Mm-hmm.
He announces that he is not returning for the next season, and the big question is why.
Yeah.
He goes on to do his own series. Like
Ghost series?
Yeah, his own Ghost series.
Oh, okay.
And it comes kind of like, there's whisperings like, oh, there's bad blood between him and Zak. They had some kind of falling out. This would later be like confirmed years later. Only in the last couple of years would Nick kind of talk on it, but he would never say Zak's name. He just says, a host I used to work with. And it's like, well, there's only one host you used to work with, buddy, and it's Zak. And he's talking about, there was like a toxic, hostile work environment. He's like a tyrant. There was even like badgering people they were there to interview. Always trying to like be the me show kind of thing.
I'm guessing they had a very strict NDA that they'd make anyone on the show sign.
Faking evidence, or at least the pressuring people who they've come to see to deliver results.
That would be the thing, because this is a TV show. You've got to have content.
Yeah.
They have, their incentive is not to find the truth, but to, you can't have a whole episode where nothing happens. So you got to make, it's going to happen.
We only
one
have
way or
42
another.
minutes. We got to show shit.
This is on a budget. We're paying for this crew.
That's still the gimmick. 'Cause they don't have the big crew. It's just like,
I was imagining that they're pretending it's a small crew, but there's all these people right out of camera shot. Or
no.
is it still pretty bare bones?
It's pretty bare bone.
Okay,
I mean,
interesting.
there's only a few of them. I mean, you got like the 4 investigators,
that would keep
sometimes a guest.
That would keep the budget low,
Yeah.
which would be a positive thing.
Yeah. So that kind of happens. And then in 2014, I mentioned that Mark and Debbie Constantino, who were like show regulars, they would regularly show up as like the EVP experts.
Oh, yeah.
And demon experts.
Yeah.
Well, in 2014, Mark murders Debbie and then kills himself during a police standoff in their apartment in Reno, Nevada.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And so...
Did he go back to look for their ghosts?
No.
Oh, good. Oh, geez.
I don't think he did that.
Yikes.
Not that I ever saw. I don't think Zach has ever said this, but there's fans of the show online who will be like, it's because they were messing with demons. A demon made him do it.
Of course they were thinking
and so that
yeah.
becomes a part of the thing. So that's not
real sad.
That's not necessarily like Ghost Adventure's fault.
No.
That's just people who were in their little circle that this unfortunate thing happened.
Yeah.
You have other ghost hunting shows that spin off. Like there is a kid named Dakota who goes on a few of their adventures with them, and then he gets like a spin-off series on Travel Channel that starts to get good ratings, and then it suddenly just abruptly gets canceled. And it's implied that, again, this is also Nick kind of corroborates this without doing it, because again, you don't want to get sued.
Right.
That Zach had something to do with it getting canceled.
Basically, because it's competition.
Yeah,
if it's another show.
And his show, Ghost Adventures, becomes like the highest rated show on Travel Channel.
Wow.
And so it's like, no.
I don't know what other shows are on the Travel Channel, but I guess that's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when Allison found that out, she like wanted to throw shit at the walls. She's like, "What the fuck?" Because she watched it with me as I was like doing the research.
Yeah, and
she hates it.
God, it sounds unwatchable to me. I doubt I could get through 10 minutes of this kind of thing.
It's bad.
I've seen this sort of thing, and it's so stupid.
But
I've never seen it, so I shouldn't judge. Yeah. I should probably watch an episode.
So there's just various drama of people coming forward to say like, yeah, there is evidence that he's
maybe not such a cool guy after all.
Yes.
Although he does donate to animal welfare.
And he wants you to ask. And he
mispronounces things, so you got to give him credit for that.
There are the live shows that didn't go the way he wanted.
That is what I would be interested to see. So they really were live.
Yes.
They weren't like, this is live. It actually was live.
And so in one of them, they had a guest.
That could go so sideways.
They had like a guest investigator who claimed that a device was knocked out of his hand by some force. And then they review the footage and everybody saw it live. The guy fucking just obviously throws it because he didn't know he was on camera at the time.
There's a way to hold a thing and make it look like it fell out of your hand.
So one thing that you sometimes can give them credit for on Ghost Adventures, so I'll be generous, is that one of the squares on that bingo card was also debunked, which is if there's ever anything that is like so obviously not paranormal, that they can't.
They must have a threshold
that they're like, okay, we thought this was it, but we found it was like a headlights of a car passing by.
And that's smart on their part because that gives them credibility.
Yes, yeah.
Like.
It's funny you say that. At a certain point, the intro to the show shifts. It changes. It
used to be, I'm Zak Bagans, and I had a ghost
in
experience,
this one,
and I want to make another
one. It now
one.
starts with, there are things in this world that we will never understand. And then he's like, we've spent years building our credibility. Trust us, kind of thing. We've worked with experts, and I put together a team, and these are our ghost adventures.
Except no alternative. We know there are others.
But we'll
we're
get
the
them
OGs.
canceled. We will get them canceled.
Yes.
Another live show is once he starts his haunted museum, which is a tourist attraction that apparently is doing very well in Las Vegas, so much so that the Chamber of Commerce and the mayor designated it like a must-visit site.
Oh my gosh.
And it's important. So they do like a live thing there where he brings in a rabbi because he claims to have in the museum this thing called the Dybbuk box, which is a famous paranormal item that supposedly contains a Jewish demon. But everybody knows Jewish demons aren't kept in boxes; they're kept in pickle jars.
Yeah, I knew that.
That's fact.
I knew that.
Yes. So
I don't know anything about this stuff. I knew that.
So he brings in a rabbi to ask him questions about it live, and he asks some question about, I'm trying to remember the exact phrase.
Is there a pickle jar in this box?
Like, is there any danger in this? And the rabbi says something to the effect of, I know it doesn't fit your script, but no.
Oh,
and Zak,
game over.
And Zak makes like this face, like, and he quickly changes the subject and is like, oh, let's go check on what's going on over here.
Oh, right, the rabbi.
Yeah.
Slip of the tongue. It
Yes.
doesn't fit your script.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
And so there is this, like,
this expectation among guests that they keep it interesting.
And now I'm going to bring the most, I'm going to end on like the most recent piece of drama.
Okay.
Because this is fresh. Like, this is in the last like 10 days fresh.
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't involve Zak. It involves the quiet one up to now, because we had the bad blood with Nick, Aaron. So Aaron Goodwin is the lovable oaf of the series. Like, in the very beginning, he is, like, from the get-go, he's the one that they establish, he's very religious, and so anything with demons freaks him out. Aaron, lovable oaf of the series. Usually, there's
he doesn't like demons.
He makes bad jokes. And
that was on the bingo card, too.
And early on, so the thing about Zak is that he has all this bravado that he's not scared, but then he always sends either Nick or Aaron or one of the other guys into the places alone.
That's pretty funny.
Usually after provoking it.
That's
like,
pretty
I'm not
funny.
scared, but hey.
Yeah.
And he's like, you go in there first, you know?
Hey,
so,
fuck you, ghost. Yeah, come at me. Go check it out.
Yeah, exactly. And so usually it's like sending Aaron by himself to supposedly the most haunted part of the building
that's
to sit there by himself, because also Aaron's reactions, like his face is like, he's out of it. He really is like a true believer, terrified.
Oh, I feel bad
And that's
for
something
him.
also I really just address is I do think on some level Zak is a true believer.
Well, yeah.
I think that just in the quest of building his brand, he has lost the thread.
That is, of course, the question that we often actually end these episodes on is like, how much are these guys still bought into it, and how much have they possibly traded?
Here's the drama with poor Aaron. Because he was my favorite. Because he's the lovable oaf,
sure,
right?
yeah, I can see why.
Okay, so in that episode I watched last night where they had the whole bit about them being at different hotels.
Yeah.
There's a part where he is talking to his fiancée, Victoria.
Was Aaron in the nice hotel? Or
yes,
was he...
Aaron's in the nice hotel. And so they have a clip of him in there, and he's on the phone to his fiancée, Victoria. I love you. You know, I miss you. I love you too. I miss you, she says. Okay, they show her picture. He eventually marries Victoria. She is his wife. 10 days ago, she was arrested.
Oh.
For trying to hire a contract killer to murder Aaron.
Oh, no.
And that story is fucking insane.
The nice guy.
Yeah, so.
Oh, no.
In October of 2024.
He must have a good life insurance
An
policy.
inmate in Florida, a guy is in jail in Florida. They confiscate a burner phone. And on there are text messages of him talking to a woman about trying to organize to have her husband killed. That woman is Victoria.
So
Goodwin.
She's trying to hire a hitman, and she's in contact with someone who's in jail.
And the person she's in jail with is even more crazier still. So this guy is in jail. She found out about him.
Yeah.
So he's a guy who a few years ago murdered. He was in love with a Romanian cam girl.
Oh, okay.
And is like sending her money and stealing money from his family and getting in too deep to the Romanian cam girl. So then when it's all going to collapse, he murders his entire family, his dad, his mom, and his brother, and then tries to frame his brother as a murder-suicide for killing the family.
Wow.
Netflix makes a documentary about this guy. Victoria Goodwin is at
She
home
must have
while her
seen the
husband is off
documentary.
hunting ghosts, watches the documentary and falls in love with the guy featured. And so she finds a way to start communication.
How did she's communicating with this guy in jail?
In
with
jail.
A burner phone?
Yes. And putting money in his his
GoFundMe?
His account, his prison account.
I didn't know. So people from the outside can put money in prison
so
accounts?
they can buy candy bars and shit.
Wow.
So she then like confesses that she's like starts like an affair with this guy over the phone, and then is like, I want my husband dead.
I could hire someone who's on the outside, but I want to hire you in prison to find someone for me.
Yes.
There's no way it'll get traced back to me.
So then he tells her like, oh yeah, it's all going to happen. And so the idea is that like, she expects that while he is filming Ghost Adventures, someone is going to sneak into a hotel or onto one of the sets and fucking murder this guy.
Wow.
Right?
And make it look like well, who knows?
Who knows? Yes. And so she gets arrested and caught.
This just happened 10 days ago.
And she's like, oh no,
So we should actually preface all this with allegedly.
Yes.
All the things Cody said, allegedly.
So then, of course, Aaron not only files for immediate divorce, but now he is suing her on top of her being tried for soliciting murder and a bunch of other shit like wire fraud, sending money through, wiring money for purpose of contract killing and all kinds of shit.
It was for candy bars.
He's suing her for, apparently, it turns out like she has been super controlling of his life, that when he's not filming, he is like a prisoner in the house.
Oh, wow.
So he is suing her for like all these levels of
like abuse,
and imprisonment and shit like that.
Wow.
And so that is just something that's like insane.
That's amazing. I guess we'll see what happens with all of that.
Yeah. So it's just
you'll have to give me an update because I'm not going to hear about any of this, but I'm kind of curious what comes of all that.
And I think I've heard that he is stepping away from the show in light of all this. Which I don't blame him.
I can imagine.
But the show, as far as I know, it moved from Travel Channel to Discovery Plus, and now it's on Discovery Channel, and you can watch like every past episode, if you want to, on HBO Max, as well as like all the spin-off series are on there. There is a few locations that are places that we know. One you've been to, Garth.
Oh.
They went to the Brookdale Lodge.
Oh, really?
And they saw a freak show on the
dance floor. It's a freak show. Look at that. There's a tree inside.
Yeah. And so, but it was like I think it was in 2011 while it was still closed up and being remodeled. They've gone to a few places that I am familiar with, like Virginia City, the Washoe Club, where they went and saw the first piece of evidence that got them there on their road to notoriety is a place that we have the possibility to go to soon.
Oh, right on.
And so, yeah, I want to do that. Just so we can go to a place that Zak Bagans went to, and then we can give it the official least haunted seal on it. Like, inspected, this place is not haunted. It's a least haunted location. So yeah, Zak Bagans, nemesis maybe for the show? I don't know.
Maybe. Well, there's a spot to be filled now that Aaron's gone. You should contact him and be like, hey.
No, I'm not going to.
I'm a skeptic.
Oh, he hates skeptics. Oh, he wrote a book, Ghost Hunting for Dummies, and then
it'd mix up the show quite a bit if you were on it, Cody. I'm just saying.
He wrote Ghost Hunting for Dummies in 2019, and then he was accused of plagiarism.
Oh, he didn't own the for Dummies.
No, it was more that there's somebody who's like, dude, you took excerpts from my book like verbatim and used them.
Not cool.
Yeah. So the whole thing it's a money making. It's a business.
Sure.
But then it like shaped so much of the paranormal pop culture. Like every ghost hunting show that you have seen since 2007.
It's all based on that.
Borrows something from Ghost Adventures. So they are the OGs in that sense.
Made up a whole genre. There you go.
It's why every ghost hunter thinks you need all these technological gadgets and doodads.
Yep. Before then, you would just bring a clairvoyant person or whatever.
And I have been told that Zak Bagans is pretty litigious. So who knows? Maybe we're going to get sued. But that'd be good for us.
Oh, boy. That's why we have an LLC.
And then
it's the LLC that gets sued,
and then it would get
right,
us
Cody?
notoriety. And then in a roundabout way, we would owe our success to him seeing a glitchy fucking figure walking across the room.
There you go. And the cycle continues.
And so it goes. Okay.
Well, this has been the Least Haunted Podcast.
Yeah, I think that is definitely going to do it for this time. That was our April Fool, Zak Bagans. Got to shout out our Monster Squaddies, our Monster Squadron patron
Squaddies, producers. We recognize you, and here you are.
Travis Alexander, By Barbarian, Rachel Krieger, Tom Dahl, Justin Duckham, Kelly Flynn, Gunnar Franks, Carla Harrington, Havelock, Christina Hurley, New Jared, Ken with 2 N's, TJ Levenhagen, Alicia Overton, Jordan Ramey, Blue Roan, Seti Fan, and Tatum.
Thank you, one. Thank you all.
You can support us on Patreon. You can come join our Discord. The more, the merrier. We're having a lot of fun over there. Like I said, if you join the Monster Squadron, you get certain perks. Like we watched the original Ghost Adventures documentary, and we intended to play bingo with it, but instead we just watched it and talked a bunch of shit, Mystery Science Theater style. And then after that, we played some Jackbox games together. So that was a lot of fun.
And if you join the Monster Squadron or become a patron at any level, you'll get to hear Polterbites, which is the Cody and I chatting for a few minutes leading up to the main episode. In this last one, Cody pitched me a movie idea, which sounds really cool. So if you want to hear that, you can join too. That's patreon.com/leasthaunted. Also, you can mail us at P.O. Box 22, Redwood Estates, California, 95044.
Yes. And then don't forget to review and share the show if you like what you hear.
Yeah.
And you know somebody else who might like it.
Yeah.
Share it with them. And then, so that's that. Next time is going to be our 5th anniversary.
Yes, we're going to be doing... Should we tell them what it'll be?
Sure, why not?
We're doing a review of Nandor Fodor, the movie that came out on Jeff the Mongoose.
The official name of the movie is Nandor Fodor and the Talking Mongoose.
Okay.
And
that's funny because I was thinking Nandor Fodor is a really clicky title. I would have called it Talking Mongoose. Let's just make that the movie
title.
title.
Going back to our roots because our very first episode was Jeff the Talking Mongoose.
That's right. They have since made a movie with, I think, Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg is in it.
Yeah, so we're going to be watching it, and then we will do our little review on the movie.
Yes.
See how we like it.
So that's next time.
I've heard terrible things, but I'm reserving judgment.
So until next time, as we say every time, the only thing...
Do we say it every time?
We do now.
Yeah, okay.
Until next time, the only thing that's haunted...
is you.
And Zak Bagans.
Say goodbye.
Is that you? Making all that noise?
This is the room
What room?
that they're talking about.
Is that you making all the noise? Holy, oh my God, holy.
The Least Haunted podcast is recorded before a dead studio audience and is a presentation of Sequoidea Productions, LLC.